Chance Campbell, the reigning SEC Defensive Player of the Week, kind enough to join us as he always does on Mondays. Visit with Chance Campbell is brought to you by The Rogue, 4450 I-55 North in Jackson, or therogue.com. They've got all sorts of, Ole Miss branded gear, including the pullover that you see Chance wearing right now. So you can get all of that at therogue.com, or again, you can go see Luke Abney and the people there at The Rogue in person. 4450 I-55 North in Jackson. Chance, how are you?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm good. First of all, congratulations. You had 10 tackles, a sack, forced a fumble. I'm probably leaving out some stats from the other day from your game against LSU. You guys win 31-17. Defense played really, really well. And every time I looked up, you were making a play, it seemed like. So you get honored for that. Congratulations.
I appreciate that.
Let's talk about that game a little bit. You guys defensively probably didn't get off to the greatest start that you wanted to, but then after that, Tysheem Johnson makes an interception, stopping LSU's second drive, and then they didn't do anything again, really at all, until the game had been basically decided. They got a touchdown, I guess, fourth quarter, midway through or whatnot, but you guys dominated the last part of the first quarter, all of the second and third quarter, first part of the fourth, got stops, caused turnovers, had to feel awfully good. What flipped after that first drive and a half or so?
Yeah, I think Sheem's play on the goal line, like after getting that goal line stand, fourth down, and him intercepting it, I think that was it was a big flip for us, kind of seeing what it looked like to play good D and then just kind of try to keep that going.
So wasn't anything, nobody changed anything. It was just made a play and then kind of gained momentum from there.
Yeah. I mean, we didn't have a crazy scheme flip up or anything. We just kind of weren't executing on the first drive. And then the beginning of the second drive, we weren't, I think it talked about it. I think he said it ended up being a 16-play drive, something crazy like that for the second one. And then the whole idea, or not the whole idea, but a big part of defense is just trying to limit explosives, and at some point, you got to go 16 plays. You hope something kind of goes your way. So obviously, would have liked to get off the field earlier, but I think that was big for us, and that's something we try to focus on, is doing better in the red zone. So I think that kind of gave us a little spark, and then just try to run with that.
When you cause turnovers, and you guys caused several the other day, I think 4, maybe 3, maybe 4, I'm not sure. When you cause turnovers, how exciting is that as a defense? How kind of momentum turning? I mean, you guys obviously get super pumped when that happens. That's got to be kind of an exhilarating thing, because not only did you make a play, but you hand the football to the offense with the short field, knowing the kind of offense that you guys have. It's typically going to lead to points.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you kind of bring up one of the really fun parts about that, especially getting the turnover here, is our offense is so explosive. So I think, sometimes you get a turnover and that feels fantastic because you stop the offense. Then you hope your offense does something with it. But here it's wow, if we can just give our offense a couple more possessions, if we don't hurt them and we can help them, give them the ball a couple other times, they're going to go do something with it. So that's really fun.
It was a picturesque weekend here. Beautiful weather and phenomenal crowd. The town was crazy starting about Thursday at noon, and just got crazier and crazier. From your perspective, I know during these weekly visits over the last few weeks, we've talked about Alabama and the atmosphere there. We talked a lot about the craziness in Knoxville, but what was it like to be on the home side of it with the atmosphere that was around here on Saturday?
Yeah, it was fun. We had on Friday, we had some guys send texts into our group chat hey, early from the meetings when we end up going to the hotel. They're there's traffic on campus, and that was kind of cool, because it's just traffic on campus on a Friday probably means Saturday is going to be a cool situation. So it was neat. There was a lot of that hype leading up, and then the game day atmosphere was a ton of fun. Crowd was really into it. It was full. You looked out and it looked like a sea, which is pretty neat. So I mean, it's fun to go on the road and do that, in a hostile environment. It's kind of a different deal, but it's fun in its own way. But when it's not hostile, or hostile for you, it's on your side. That's pretty cool too. So it's just a different thing. I didn't really have that before, so it was really neat.
I know you've talked about the Grove impressed you for who was it you guys play? Austin P. The Grove impressed you. How different was the Grove on Saturday to maybe the first couple of Groves that you saw when you walked through?
So I don't know. They all look pretty crazy to me. It's hard to tell because it's like, I mean, you're like walking your path and it's like always full, but like you don't know like what's behind it.
Yeah.
Um, so like I knew it was like crazier when like you could start to see like the crowd like earlier, like before you even get to the start of the walk. Um, and then I try to find out like where my parents, if they come to the game, like they try to find the same spot. And they were like saying that like, hey, we went to this spot. And I know how early they get there and they try to be in the same spot. So I was like, oh, it's probably pretty nuts down there.
Um, did you get to hear from Eli Manning? Did you even see Eli Manning? I know you had stuff to do and his schedule was not jived with yours, but I know he was on the buses. He was at the front of the walk, that kind of thing. Just, I don't know if you got a chance to visit with him or see him or anything like that. A lot of former players. Just was curious what the kind of the interaction, if any at all, with the team was with some of those guys.
Yeah, so I didn't get a chance to talk to Eli Manning, but I definitely got to see him, which was pretty neat. I was probably a little bit like a creeper, so I apologize if you ever saw me like staring. But I was like, I saw him, I was like, oh no way, that's awesome. So I saw him in practice. I didn't know he was on the buses, but I like had seen him when we were walking in, so I guess that makes sense. But we actually got to eat with Patrick Willis. He ate with the linebackers, and that was super cool because he's one of the guys that I've watched for a long time. So that was pretty neat to like sit down and like grab a bite to eat with him. That's pretty wild.
What was that visit like? Do you guys were you all just like super fans talking to him about his NFL career, or was he talk? What was inside that?
Yeah, he like talked. I don't know. He's a crazy guy. Like he's super humble, and if you didn't know how like amazing stuff that he did, like going 7-7 his Pro Bowls and what he did here at Ole Miss, like you if you didn't know that outside, you wouldn't know it from him because he's super humble. Doesn't bring that up unless you ask him. So it's like it was cool because it felt like you were like getting like you're eating with like a regular guy, but like for the football fan, he's anything but a regular guy. So I was like that was really neat.
So weeks ago, and your answer was right at the time because weeks ago the rankings really didn't matter, and the rankings themselves still don't technically matter. But here we are at the end of October, and if you're in the top 10, that typically means you're playing for something, and you guys are. You're 6-1 now overall. You're 3-1 in the SEC. Headed to Auburn, playing a ranked team that's got stuff to play for as well. Um, I know you got to have some help outside. I mean, someone else has to beat Alabama for you guys to win the West, but you're very much in the playoff picture if you keep winning. Are you starting to feel some of that stuff in the building, or are you guys pretty focused on one day at a time, 1 week at a time?
Yeah, it's cool because I don't like feel that aspect. I mean, we're heading into Auburn week, so I feel like that pressure because they're a really good team. They're a ranked team. We're going on the road, all those things. So I don't like feel the pressure of us being ranked whatever we are. It's more of like we have a real big opponent in front of us. So like the pressure that presents. So that's like kind of neat because I don't know. I think if we were focused on the wrong stuff, like that might be something that we think about, but I don't really feel that in the building, which is like I think a cool deal.
You're right. They've been playing really well. Auburn has. They went up to Arkansas, and Bo Nix had one of his better games in Fayetteville with an Auburn win. You were asked about this at the press conference earlier today about the challenges of facing, and you guys have faced some mobile quarterbacks, Bryce Young, KJ Jefferson. Nix is another one of those guys that can beat you with his feet. He can beat you with his arm. How difficult is it to prepare for someone like him?
Yeah, I mean, just like I said previously, it's super difficult because it just adds another layer. I think especially I mean, pretty similar with KJ Jefferson in the sense that like Bo Nix is physical too. So I mean, he's really fast, and I don't think he gets enough credit for how fast he is. But like, what guys do recognize, and they should, is like how physical he is when he tries to go finish runs, because it's just difficult. Like tackling somebody in space in general is hard. And then with a quarterback, I mean, you're waiting to see if he crosses the line of scrimmage because he still has that dual threat where he could throw or run, and then when he does cross, it's not like going and trying to tee on a quarterback who's might be a little out of his comfort zone. Like that dude's very comfortable running in open space. So you gotta take a good approach because he'll make you miss, and then he'll also like put a shoulder into you and like make you wish you came with a little bit more. So I mean, that's like he's a really good quarterback, and that's a big challenge for us.
I've talked to you about this before. I keep noticing him, and his story is such a great story. And you and he have combined to become a really, really good linebacker core, one of the better ones in the SEC, and probably, frankly, one of the better ones in the country. How much progress have you seen from Mark Robinson over the course of this season?
Yeah, he's incredible, and how fast he's come along. And I'm like careful to say that because I think he was a fantastic linebacker when I got here. So like, I don't want that to be like. Sometimes I'm hesitant to say that because it like gives off a negative connotation as if he started from zero, and he didn't at all.
Well, Lane Kiffin
Um,
talks a lot. Not to interrupt you, but Lane Kiffin talks a
yeah,
lot about the process from good to great. He's talking about you guys as a team, or he feels like
yeah,
you're close, from good to great. And maybe that's what you kind of mean a little bit. I don't think anybody would take it negatively, but I mean, he had never really played the position before. He played a different spot, and he moves over there. It's a position of need, and that's why the move was made. And between you and you've taken a position that Ole Miss struggled with over the last few years and have really solidified it. I just was, yeah, I didn't mean to interrupt your answer. It's been remarkable to see how much better Ole Miss is at linebacker than it was the last few years. And that's no insult on anyone who's played there before, but you guys seem to have kind of a chemistry together as well, where you have different strengths and you're able to kind of meld those a little bit.
yeah. I think that you bring up the good to great point is like it's perfect because that's what I was like struggling to say, and I think for Mark, it's just really neat to see like what he's doing. It's like statistically, he's kind of off the charts these last few games, and then like even more than that, just like for people who look real deep into football, like I mean, he flies the ball, brings like such a physical nature. I mean, he changes how players on the offense play the game because like he'll come down with everything he's got. He's got a lot. He's a big dude. He's strong dude. So it's like I mean, he's a presence on our defense who makes us play and makes us and guys around him play differently. So like he's a fun dude to line up next to.
I'm using his words. So Sam Williams last week talked about how he's found sort of a motivation to play even harder, to be more consistent. Lane Kiffin talked about it today about if Sam plays like this all the time, week after week, he's going to make a lot of money at the next level. You're getting that contribution from him. Jake Springer returned at the back end. We talked about him last week. I think sort of the presence that he brings you guys. Defensively as a whole, I mean, that's all three levels. Defensively, are you guys starting to feel kind of a renewed confidence? I know you believed in yourself at the beginning of the year and all that stuff, but are you feeling more confidence, more, hey, we're transforming into a even a better version of ourselves than maybe we thought we could?
Yeah, I mean, I think we knew what we had and what we were capable of, and so I think that was part of the frustration when we weren't putting that out there. And I think one of the cool things about this group is like we're happy with some of the things I'll say how to put this. We're pleased with some of the stuff that we put on tape, but like as a group, I don't think we're pleased with the performance as a whole. Like I don't think we're content, which I think is awesome because I like there is still room to grow, and I think we're kind of on that. I mean, Coach Kiffin talks about it, but on that bridge, like we've had some games that they weren't good, they were poor, and then we've had some games that were good, and then we're kind of teetering on like really good. But it's neat because we have the guys, we have the scheme, we have the coaches to go be great. So when you see like kind of those flashes where it's like, okay, yeah, like we can make it look like this all the time, like we could really go do what we think we can do. So I think that's the exciting part.
When Lane Kiffin talks about good to great, obviously he said it the other day, he said it again today. I think this is a really good team that has a chance to be great. When you look at you guys, what are the obstacles between good and great as a team?
Yeah, they're so fun. Oh my goodness, something in my throat. Yeah, they're like minuscule and minuscule in the sense that they're small, but they're huge. So I think like penalties, I think that's something that we really want to clean up. And then like not missed assignments, but miscommunication. So like when we're not all playing, I mean it's hard to speak from the offense point of view, but like strictly defensively, when we're not all playing the same defense, it's hard to be good. So like when we're making our checks or when we're lining up, making sure that we're all on the same page, because if 11 guys, cleats in the dirt, all running the same defense, like flying to the ball. Like it's hard to have a lot going against that. It's hard for an offense, but it only takes one guy to not be on the same page, or to one guy to just be tired and let that kind of get to him. So just like all 11 guys on the field making that conscious decision every play. I think that's kind of like, I think being great is just being consistently good and not letting like poor plays slip in. So I think that's kind of the next step for us.
So Auburn on Saturday. You ever been to Jordan Hare? Ever been to Auburn?
Nah, I mean, I on TV, I watched. That's the cool thing about playing. Like one of the really cool things about playing here in the SEC is like I've seen these places, so I've like seen the hedges, I've seen the stadium, but I've never been there. So I'm kind of excited to see it.
Yeah, you probably will be in the locker room when they do the Eagle. The Eagle's pretty cool. I'm going to give them that. There's no question. The Eagle circling the stadium it's pretty badass. It's one of the cooler things in college football. I guess that's it. I just kind of wanted to get your thoughts on that, and so it's been a lot of fun to visit with you as we always do. And again, congratulations on the honor. I know that that's not what motivates you, but it's got to be rewarding when your efforts are recognized.
Yeah, thank you. It's kind of more of like it's cool because you don't get it if your defense doesn't play well. So like, it makes me more happy for the defense. But
Hey,
I
listen.
appreciate that.
Yeah, best of luck at Auburn. We'll talk to you again next week as you guys start to get ready for Liberty. Good luck this weekend, and we'll talk to you soon.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you.